Coming up next on the Nutritional Advantage.
Just from standard human psychology, you have to evaluate if we get stressed out in any form or matter, we're going to revert back to our old habits every single time. Yeah. And a lot of the times when we revert back to old habits, we're reverting back to old forms of comfort. So some individuals see food as a form of comfort. When clients first start with me, I ask them, what's your comfort food? They'll always tell me pizza, ice cream, pasta, some of the foods that maybe make them feel inflamed. But here's the fact about comfort. And the reality is we present the form of comfort through several ways physically. So through human touch, receiving hugs from handshakes, a lot of the times through touch, we receive our pressure points being triggered in a form of comfort. Now, if we overindulge in foods, now we're making ourselves bloated and distended, and we're feeling those internal pressure points being touched. So when individuals are extremely bloated, sometimes they will call that their comfort. Are they working for you or against you? Welcome to another episode of the Nutritional Advantage. Melissa, tell me a little bit about some of your old habits that you used to have.
Ooh, habits that were working against me, for sure. I had some of those. I really did have quite a few healthy habits. I always exercised. I was trying to make the right food choices, but from all this time of working with me that, I struggled with GI distress quite a bit. So I also had some unhealthy habits where it was like, hey, Brian and I are going to dinner tonight. So, or, I'm going out to dinner with my girlfriends. So today I'm just really not going to eat much during the day because I don't know what's going to upset my stomach. And then I'd go all day with depriving myself, go out to dinner, you have a couple cocktails, you just get super hungry, you make poor food choices. And then it's like I stole from the next day's happiness and ended up not feeling well that whole next day. And it was just like this cycle that I could get into, or I think so many moms can relate to this. It's like I start my day with coffee because I don't have that much energy and I get through my day and then, oh my gosh, I just need a glass of wine at the end of the day. Right. And it's like lather, rinse, repeat again. Then you wake up the next morning, really not feeling great because you had a glass of wine and it interrupted your sleep. But it all can be habits that over the years, you don't even realize they have become habitual in your day-to-day.
Absolutely. And these gray area habits are the ones that make people feel like they're in a merry-go-round that they can't get out of. They're constantly struggling with maybe weight loss or struggling with GI distress, autoimmune symptoms. And what we have to consider is truly identifying those black and white healthy habits for your health and wellness overall. So whether that is nutrition, whether that is exercise, there's a magnitude of things that can be affected by your overall health and wellness. And it's making sure that everything is going to be black and white and fitting within your parameters. So a lot of the things that we see is, not only from a health and wellness standpoint, but also your perspective and your mindset towards nutrition. Is that in alignment? Is that black and white towards your goals and making sure that you are getting from point A to point B exactly where you want to be the most efficiently with no stress? So as we look into health and wellness, there's so many different levels and there's so many different magnitudes of, where do you start? But essentially, food is going to be the fuel that drives you to success. And if you have a solid foundation for nutrition, everything else is so much more simplified. So when you finally hit the nail on your head with your nutrition, what ended up changing and making things more black and white for you?
Yeah, I remember, so kind of like rewind a little bit before I really had custom nutrition, our lifestyle. So I have two kids. I have a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old, and we show pigs. We participate on a competitive dance team. We have basketball tournaments. Like, we're on the go a lot. I've never been a fast food person, but just like I was describing, I would skip meals or I would not be prepared. And then I would be so hungry that I would make an unhealthy decision. I remember exactly where I was. I was sitting in my driveway. It was a check-in of ours after maybe 4 weeks on the program, where we were starting to identify some things that would make me feel just really fantastic. Like, I was feeling good. My nutrition was feeling like it was making strides. And I had just the previous weekend, I had gone to a dance competition of Kennedy's. And so that means, guys, like Friday through Sunday, I'm gone. I took every morsel of food that I needed for that entire time with me. And I came home, and when I woke up Monday morning, I had energy. I was focused. I had zero GI distress. And even though there were times over the weekend where maybe it was a little inconvenient, or, I ate a cold meal because I didn't know some travel secrets yet, it was an awakening for me that, like, man, food was impacting me way more than I thought, because my sleep was the same, our pace was the same, everything I did as a dance mom was the same. But the way I fueled myself determined whether I could show up on that next Monday morning or have like dance competition hangover, which is what usually happened. That was a huge aha moment for me.
And I know some of the symptoms that you had prior were absolutely debilitating.
Yes.
And what do you think was the biggest transformation from a healthy habit standpoint, besides maybe the dietary scenario of, maybe after you figured out custom nutrition, what were the actions that played a role in after that?
Yeah, great question. So I think I undervalued water. I think I undervalued water and how important it is to make sure that you get enough water in your day to support your digestion, to support processing those foods, and to help with your energy and your hydration. I think that, alongside all of that, like, meal prep was always part of my life, but I was not as relentless about it as I was like starting on a plan. Because once I got on plan, it was like Sunday, like you build in our plans, like, that meal prep is part of it. So it's like not a super long workout, you can have some rest on a Sunday because you're meal prepping, like you're setting yourself up for success. So Monday morning, whether I was coming home from a team competition or just doing normal life, I was setting myself up to win. That's now a habit. Maybe it doesn't always happen on Sunday. You can figure out where you need it throughout the week, but being prepared is now a non-negotiable. It is a habit, but it is a non-negotiable.
Absolutely. And I help all the moms and, all my clients, period, make sure that everything is going to fit into their lifestyle. Because if it's not easy, if it's not attainable, you're never going to do it.
Right.
So let's be honest, if it isn't something where you can, navigate your way through fast food restaurants, navigate your way through regular restaurants, take the time to, meal prep, maybe your special dietary needs, or buy quick grab and goes off of Amazon and have a whole arsenal of things that you can prepare yourselves with to make it effortless the entire step of the way. So it's really unique that I've had the same experiences as a lot of my clients from a former career of being able to travel. I did a bodybuilding competition prep being on the road for 22 days. And a lot of people were like, how did you manage that? You were working 14-hour days and then on top of that going to the gym. And when you really break down, if you want something bad enough, you are going to make those healthy habits that are going to be a requirement of what your goal is. So establishing parameters that are black and white, not only things that make you feel good, but, habits that you're going to keep long term. That is the biggest thing that I see with individuals that, excel through my program is, even though they may not be a client of mine right now, they're still continuing the lifestyle. And that's the beautiful application of what I hope to educate everyone is identifying things that are going to work for them long term. How can they better help other individuals within their family, and be able to spread the word of proper nutrition and health and wellness practices. For those women who come to me with hormone imbalances, a lot of the times I see them struggling not only with nourishment, but then they're overstimulating their bodies in terms of exercise on top of that. Well, that is counterintuitive to stabilizing your hormones. You can't put your body at a state of excess cortisol stress, on top of your food sensitivities. Now you're radiating your body with so many symptoms that it's almost unbearable. And at that point in time, most people feel more of a will to give up, and they feel stuck in that gray area. So really working with a professional dietitian to make sure that everything is black and white for you is very, very critical.
I think one thing, just to kind of dovetail off of that a little bit, is that habits lead to discipline, and discipline leads to longevity. Like, I don't feel like it all the time. There's a difference between feeling like doing something. That's an emotion. And we've talked about that. And it's also really enlightening that so much about hormonal misfirings and things that are going to happen, that I remember when I started prep and when I started really ramping things up, the things that you taught me about, like, hey, your body's going to do this. It will take 1 week, 2 weeks, whatever, for it to just shut up in that area, for it to be quiet and stop telling you you're tired during the weightlifting, you're tired during the cardio. Like, you are in control. And I think that's the thing about habits. It's like you decide every single day how you're going to show up. But one of the cool things that you do that really helps people is your accountability. So 2-week check-ins. Like, you can't go too far off the rails in 2 weeks, and if you do, then you have a coach to guide you back. And I think that's also the black and white, is no matter what, I knew I was sending you pictures and I was talking to you, and there's accountability there, and there's beauty in the black and white, because my feelings can matter, but my feelings weren't going to get me where I wanted to go.
Absolutely. And our feelings are the one thing that can truly derail us from certain scenarios, because just from standard human psychology, you have to evaluate if we get stressed out in any form or matter, we're going to revert back to our old habits every single time. Yep. And a lot of the times when we revert back to old habits, we're reverting back to old forms of comfort. So some individuals see food as a form of comfort. When clients first start with me, I ask them, what's your comfort food? They'll always tell me pizza, ice cream, pasta, some of the foods that maybe make them feel inflamed. But here's the fact about comfort. And the reality is we present the form of comfort through several ways physically. So through human touch, receiving hugs from handshakes. A lot of the times through touch, we receive our pressure points being triggered in a form of comfort. Now, if we overindulge in foods, now we're making ourselves bloated and distended, and we're feeling those internal pressure points being touched. So when individuals are extremely bloated, sometimes they will call that their comfort because of those pressure point signals. So identifying habits that truly lead you to an actual form of comfort, are very, very critical in terms of making sure that people are staying on their health and wellness journey in an appropriate manner.
Yeah. I think that was a huge shift for me personally. It's like you also get in the habit of what is a reward, right? Like, it's the end of a long work week. What do you do? Like, do you pour yourself a cocktail? Do you go out for dinner and say, I've been good all week? Like, this good versus bad thing can be just, so toxic, I think. But for me, like, I shifted it. It was, hey, I made it till Friday, which means I have busted it in the gym, plus had 2 kids with their crazy schedules. Lord help us that it was also pig sale season. So I was in the barn, I was helping my husband, our life was so full of all good things, but it was a lot. And so my healthy habit has now become that on a Friday night, man, do not interrupt me for a good hour and a half because I am in the bathtub. Like I am pulling up my favorite show. I am in an Epsom salt soak. I am rewarding myself for a job well done, but I'm also taking care of my body so that Saturday morning when I wake up, like I'm refreshed. I feel good. I'm ready to go again. And I think getting attracted to that kind of like cause and effect that like I'm going to do, like, I don't know if anybody's that's listening shops at Nordstrom, but they send you this great email that's like your future self will thank you after you buy something. Is what I think of. I'm like, my future self will thank me for this good decision I'm making right now.
And those good decisions are focusing on non-food orientated rewards, just the reward system of I'm going to go get a massage. I'm going to go get my nails done. I'm going to buy myself a new pair of clothes, workout clothes, whatever it may be. I'm going to go get a gym membership. There are other ways to reward yourself other than being food focused. And that's what a lot of our mindset shift gets away from as we grow up, just from the mere standpoint is food is so glorified. Every wedding, there's a wedding cake. Every birthday, there's cupcakes. Every single event that you have, whether it's a 4-H club, whatever it may be, there's always treats and foods available from the standpoint of food glorification. The holidays, every single time you go to the holidays, you celebrate with friends and family. My holidays are a little bit different. So I did a Friendsgiving. I do it every single year, but I always have the food sensitivity results for all the individuals that are generally there. All my friends pretty well have them. So for me, being able to cook 4 different types of proteins, 4 different types of carbs, maybe a couple of vegetables, and have options for everyone that I can accommodate everyone in the most appropriate manner. Do I make high levels of those foods? Absolutely not, because I don't want those leftovers. But it's being very mindful that I want my friends to leave my home feeling absolutely amazing. Yeah. And that's the one thing that I could really wish them is, especially being Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for their friendship, so I want them to have an amazing experience and make sure that they know that healthy habits can be driven through holidays as well. And even myself, like I will always eat meal prep on a holiday unless it's, Christmas with my grandma where we have this amazing Polish food that I only have one time a year. It's not to say that you can't indulge in things, but it's being mindful of knowing the repercussions of if you do have high levels of sensitivities, that you're monitoring the intake for the day and understanding that there is going to be some ramification of a symptom and making that conscious choice of, I think I'll just have a little bit of a tummy ache, but you know what? I'm going to indulge and, I'm truly going to enjoy the holidays with my family. So everybody has different perspectives, but it has to be in alignment with your goals. Now, if I were doing a bodybuilding competition and I was cutting weight in the middle of the holiday season, I wouldn't break my meal prep at all because I'm disciplined enough that my mindset would be in the right area. And for me, that decision would be black and white. Yeah. 100%. I made a commitment to compete, and that's where my goals are because I want to feel amazing because I know tomorrow I have a training day. So for everybody, they have completely different parameters in terms of, hey, what's my lifestyle? What do we have going on? And, making sure that they get to alignment with their goals. You can't sit here every day and say, oh, well, couldn't make it to the gym because my kids had a ball game. You can't take blame on, your family, your friends, anything because they want to do social altercations and that don't allow you to get to your goals. Yeah. And that's something that's very important is if you commit to yourself, you need to follow through with that commitment and make those decisions that best represent your life at that point in time.
Absolutely. And I wonder, do you find with your clients, because I remember like 10 years ago, when I started to eliminate gluten, it was not as common as it is now. And a lot of people didn't understand it. And when I would go to big family reunions, big family functions, I was like the odd duck, right? Like, I'm like, oh, she's the one, who can't have anything, or, oh, Melissa, we didn't prepare something for you. I was comfortable with it, but I was made to feel very uncomfortable by other people who just didn't understand. And I think I wonder sometimes, do you find with clients that they're like, I can't bring my own food to my mom's house. She would be so offended. I can't do whatever. So you'd rather be miserable than make someone else uncomfortable.
A lot of the times individuals, when they do fall into that classification, is the other people in their family obviously don't know how they feel when they consume foods, but sometimes it could be stabbing pains in your stomach, and it's just, you are so debilitating that you just want to go sit on the couch. You don't want to be around people. And at that point in time, you have to evaluate psychologically, if you are hiding in a corner all the time because you don't feel good, are you showing up to be the best form of yourself? Are you showing up in the best, positive light that you could be? Are you being, the most elaborate person in the family? Are you treating your kids in the appropriate manner? Or are you kind of, just pushing your kids off to the side and saying, oh, well, I'll take care of that later, and not, helping them through certain situations. So when you do feel your best, I always have this saying, do more for yourself so you can do more for others.
Yeah.
So by that, when you feel amazing and you're taking care of yourself, you're better able to help others. You can be more productive with work. You can, truly show up for yourself in the best form at family holidays. And, how can I help you prepare these meals? You show up in such a more positive light, and now you start attracting others from that standpoint who love that positivity and that shine that you have. So that's something that we always keep in mind as well. And I educate all of my clients on is, if you do get to a point where you do spike inflammatory response, how do we eliminate that sooner? As we know, foods stay with you for about 4 to 7 days, depending on how fast your metabolism is. So it's not that you consume food today and it exits your body tomorrow. And this is why a lot of people have a state of confusion on their nutrition, is because they're constantly eating different foods every single day. And you can't really monitor if it is a 4-day time window of rate of digestion on what specific food. So that's why a meal plan is going to be the most efficient way to truly learn and understand your body, is because we're taking that 4 to 7 day time gap and we're condensing it down to a day-by-day scenario. Now we can start reading your digestive tract and understanding your body and finding out, where is your inflammatory response spiked? Is it spiked within your stomach within, an hour of eating? Is it spiked 2 days later in your upper GI tract, maybe 3 days later in your lower GI tract? Where is the void in your body where you may be lacking certain digestive enzymes in a compartment of your GI tract? Maybe you could be needing to recalibrate your gut microbiome. And a lot of people are so quick to go after probiotics, but they don't understand the premise, and they're not educated on which ones their body actually needs. So if you don't have any issues with your stomach area, your gut microbiome might be fine. And if you're supplementing with something, that you think is going to be beneficial for that, you may not need it, or it may be counterintuitive to you understanding your body from a different retrospect. So there's a lot of things to consider when you are looking at nutrition, and some people simply don't want to do a meal plan. They don't want to eat the same foods every single day. And that's why I've created a nutritional blueprint for my clients. It's an opportunity for them to utilize food swaps, so they're constantly not eating the same thing every day, but it's understanding their macros a little bit more in depth of what are the appropriate protein sizes for you. What is the appropriate amount of carbs to fats ratio? What does that look like for your specific body? Calorie intake, same thing. Where do your calories need to be? If you have your calories too high, you're going to gain weight. If you have your calories too low, you're going to gain weight because your body is now at a state of distress. So staying at the higher end of the deficit is where I want all of my clients, because that's where they thrive. They feel the best. And then at the same time, they have the best performance in terms of athletes, and then weight loss. We have incredible results within weight loss within that parameter. So there's so many different things to consider on rate of success with health and wellness.
This is why the people need you. This is why I'm here, and why I've shared this with so many people, is there is so much to be learned. I mean, it's like you said, we start with that food sensitivity analysis so that you like can cross the starting line, but you don't reach the finish line for a long, long time, maybe ever. My body's still changing. We're still discovering things as my metabolism rises and falls, and I'm competing, not competing. And so, if you're tired of the guessing game, custom nutrition, like there are very few things that I can say, this will work. Custom nutrition will work because it's all about you. Like what other program out there is all about you? You're just signing up to follow their plan they've already established. Custom nutrition, it is all about you. It's about your body, your needs, your life, your taste. And then that's married with all of Callyn's amazing knowledge. And it just comes together so beautifully to help you have the nutritional advantage, to help you have the competitive advantage that you need to get ahead or to get through your day to day. Be the best mom you can be, the best parent, the best employee, the best athlete, whatever it is.
And understanding that even though you may have one custom nutrition plan that you've identified, your body is constantly evolving. And keeping up with the demand of that evolution is very critical as well. Yeah. And what are the steps moving forward, that you need to learn with your body and those adaptations, especially for women. We have so many hormone scenarios, setting up nutrition. If somebody has a lot of PMS symptoms, their nutrition plan is very specific towards that. Understanding that the week before their cycle, they're going to be on a different dietary plan than they are the whole rest of the month, just to combat a lot of those PMS symptoms. And that's the beauty of the women that I work with, is every single check-in, they're like, I just started. There are no PMS symptoms. I don't have the cramping.
And all the husbands said, amen.
Amen. So being able to live health and wellness from the right standpoint, a lot of these symptoms that we've, quote, normalized, like PMS symptoms, like GI distress, certain things like that, you have to consider that's not normal. That's not normal at all. And instead of going to getting a headache and going to the cabinet and grabbing a Tylenol, I teach my individual clients, when you have a headache, let's get in a problem-solving mode. What caused that headache? When you figure out what caused the headache, now we're solving some problems. Yeah. Now we're getting down to understanding your body and taking those toxic things that are entering your body. We had talked about vegetable toxicity before from the standpoint of, there's a lot of things that we can be toxic to. Maybe it's a heavy metal or something like that. Maybe you were told zinc was an amazing immune booster. Well, maybe you're sensitive to the heavy metal zinc, and that's maybe what is causing some major migraines that you have that are absolutely debilitating towards your career. Yeah. You can't work if your head is constantly throbbing. So understanding how to get into problem solving mode and being able to solve all your daily scenarios is absolutely giving you the nutritional advantage. And that is the one thing that I really want to project, and even podcast moving forward, is I want to shed a lot of light on the myths, the facts, things where individuals truly need to further understand their specific body substantially better, stay in their lane, and fuel their body appropriately for their days. As we continue on with these future podcasts, I just hope to have the voice that a lot of people need to hear. The individuals that truly are finding it hard to reach their goals. I want them to know that there are options out there. Custom nutrition is beneficial on a magnitude of ways. And moving forward, we really just want to myth bust on some of the influences that we've had. You see a lot of stuff on social media, and it may work for one person while it doesn't work for the rest. So being able to understand that any health and wellness scenario truly is custom to a specific person is a belief that I really want to project and be able to influence in the appropriate way.